let's just go into what I have for today. Okay, it's like I should just jump the entire overview, but then there are people in the class that will still need to get the overview, the introduction of what data analytics is about. So, our objectives is very simple in this program. We are going to understand data and its concept, and we're going to do a bit of that today. Then we are going to gain proficiency in the use of Excel for data cleaning, analysis, and visualization. Only in data analytics that you make use of Excel. Okay. But you are a data analyst, you need to have proficiency in the use of Excel. So we're going to be looking at various techniques. We're going to be looking at methodologies. We're going to be looking at processes in Microsoft Excel. All right. Then we're also going to be looking at upskilling. We want to upskill in the use of Power BI for effective visualization and driving reasonable insights. Many of us don't know Power BI at all. Just a few of us probably know a bit of Power BI. All right. But then you'd see visualization in Excel and then you see visualization in Power BI again. Why? So when we get there, we would see the difference and we would see why Power BI is preferable when you're talking about visualization. Okay. Then we would now go into, excuse me, we would now go into a new world outside of Excel and Power BI. I call it a new world because the approach that you will take to data analytics in SQL and Python is way different from Excel and Power BI. Excel and Power BI are basically drag and drop um, applications. Okay, what you just have to do is click here, click there, drag here, drop here. For Excel and Power BI, most of the time, you write one or two functions, and depending on how well you are good, you might write more. But in SQL and Python, SQL, most importantly, you are not really doing visualization. You're not doing any visualization at all in SQL. At all in SQL. No visualization at all. Okay. But in Python, yes, you see a bit of visualization in Python for data analytics. So we're going to understand how to use SQL to query databases. What do I mean by query databases? Many of us don't know, but when we get there, we'd understand that. All right. And they would also use Python as a tool for data analytics. So let's proceed. Now, what are you going to need for this program? What are you going to need for this program? For this program, you're going to be making use of a Windows laptop, internet, and you need to understand how to use it. Okay, so you should not be new to the environment of a computer. All right, you should not be new to the environment of a computer. So you need a Windows laptop. Why did I specify Windows laptop? I specified Windows laptop because while a MacBook will still handle Excel, a MacBook will still handle SQL, and a MacBook will still handle Python. Your MacBook will not take Power BI natively. Okay, it would only install Power BI if you have a Windows operating system on it. So what my students do most of the time is they create a partition on their system and they install Windows on that partition. That is on the Mac OS. They install Windows on a partition of their Mac OS and then they go ahead and install Power BI on it. I don't know the beef between Microsoft and Apple because there are a lot of Microsoft applications are available on Mac OS, but I don't know the reason why they have decided not to release a native Power BI application dedicated for Mac. Okay, so if you don't have a Windows operating system on your Mac OS or you have a virtual machine on your Mac OS, you cannot make use of Power BI desktop on that Mac OS. Okay, so you need a Windows laptop, internet, and understand how to use it. So internet, why? You might need to do research every now and then. Okay. Then you need to dedicate time. So you need to dedicate time if you really want to get the best out of this program. Now you need resilience and dedication as well. And it goes along with a good mindset. You're going to hit stumbling blocks. You're going to hit roadblocks from time to time. oh, a particular function is not really entering, or a particular formula you're trying to work with is not going well for you. Okay, but then what do? Do you just give up at that moment, or you persevere? So you need resilience and dedication. All right. And then finally, you need to be a team player. You need to be a team player. The tools and installation. So for the tools, we're going to need Microsoft Excel, and we're going to need Microsoft Power BI. Now, I have PostgreSQL there, but you don't need to install anything for the PostgreSQL. Don't worry, you don't need to install anything. Okay, so we're going to be working with the cloud-based version. And then I also have Python. All right, so for PostgreSQL and Python, you're not installing anything. Now, let me explain something about Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Power BI. Microsoft Power BI has a free version. Okay, you'll be downloading the Power BI desktop. That is like a free version. You don't need to buy, you don't need to pay for anything before you can use it. So that is out of the way. But Microsoft Excel, you need to pay. It is a paid for application. All right, one way or another, you need to pay if you'll be getting a genuine version. Okay, I'm very sure you've gone, for many of you that make use of uh, Apple devices. Okay, you go to the Apple store and you see some applications where they'll charge you 10,000 naira for you to be able to download it. Okay, so Microsoft Excel, it's a paid for application, but trust Nigerians, yeah, they are cracking everything. Not even Nigerians, even abroad. Okay, so they bypass a particular security that checks for payments, validation on the application so that people can use it for free. Okay, so there is the cracked version. Okay, so for the cracked version, what's it called? I have a copy here on this link. Okay, I have a copy here on this link, and you can download from there. But what I have here, it's in a zipped folder. So if you know how to unzip, very good. If you don't know how to unzip, check for YouTube on how to unzip a zipped folder. Okay, so unzipping is very easy and very straightforward. I also have another resource at the end of this material on how to unzip a zipped folder. Okay, and then you got our contents. We're going to be looking at what is data, types of data, difference between data analysis and data science, popular tools, um, popular tools used for analysis, types of analysis, industry use case of analytics, phases of data analytics, domain knowledge and data analytics, use of google.com, and then additional resources. Data is a collection of facts, concepts, or instructions that is gathered for the purpose of processing and analyzing to get certain information. There is a particular definition I love from Microsoft, but there they were defining Microsoft Power BI. The reason why I love that definition was because it was very concise and it covered everything you could think of that that application does. Now, this definition covers some important things. Okay. Now, it says data is a collection of facts, concepts, or instructions. What do I mean? What do I mean? So it means that it's not just one. Okay, it's not just an item. All right. And now data is usually gathered for the purpose of processing and analyzing to get certain information. So information is what is useful to you at the end of the day when you analyze the data. Okay. Or in some other cases, you'd hear people say insights. Okay. To make your data make meaning, to bring out meaning from your data. So when you collect data, it is usually for the purpose of bringing out something from it. Okay, except I have someone that, okay, for many of us are definitely out of the university. Okay, working class. So, but in university, we remember we would do projects and we would have to defend the project. In the course of the project, at one point or another, maybe chapter 4 or a particular chapter, chapter 4, yeah, where you do your data analysis, isn't it? You would collect data, whether it is primary data or secondary data. You would collect data. Why? Because you want to analyze regarding something. You want to analyze the data to understand something regarding your project. So you see that whenever data is being collected, the end goal is to get a certain information. The process or the journey from getting your data to the end goal is where we have data analytics. Simply, the journey of getting your data and going to the end goal is simply data analytics. All right. Now we have various types of data. Okay. Broadly, data can be divided into two distinct groups, qualitative and quantitative. Okay. But when you're talking about data like this, it is usually in table format where you have rows and columns. All right. You have rows and columns. For those of you that have opened up an Excel spreadsheet before, you see rows and columns. That is what you understand data to be ordinarily. Okay. So those kind of data are usually divided into qualitative and quantitative. Okay. Under your qualitative, you have nominal and ordinal data. Under your quantitative, you have unstructured data and structured data. So the structured data, the one that is structured, is the one that is in table form. Okay. Unstructured is the one that is not in table form. For instance, your tweets on Twitter is an example of unstructured data. All those words you write and then you press tweet, that is data. Data scientists will collect that data and analyze for what's it called, to see the sentiment. Oh, in which mood was this particular tweet written? Okay. So back to this now, qualitative data and quantitative data. Let's take a look at them quickly. Your quantitative data is data that is in form of numeric values. And you need to take note of something. They are used to measure certain events. If it is not measuring something, it is not a quantitative data, even though you have number in it. Okay? It is not a quantitative data. All right? So you can have data like matric number of a university. Oh, matric number. What's your matric number? My matric number is 142 something, 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 something. Just numbers. Okay, but it does not mean that it is a quantitative data, because a quantitative data needs to measure events. That kind of data, it would be called a numeric data or a numerical data. So all quantitative data are numerical data, but not all numerical are quantitative. So when you have matric number, it is numerical, it contains only numbers, but it is not quantitative because your matric number is not measuring anything. Okay. Another thing is that you can use this quantitative data for mathematical calculations and statistical analysis. Okay. So mathematical calculation, your sum, your average, maximum, minimum, and all of that. You can perform them on quantitative data. You cannot do that on matric number because it is not a quantitative data. You can use them for statistical analysis. Oh, doing some test of hypothesis and all. Thankfully, I graduated with a first, I have a first degree in statistics. Okay, so you can only use quantitative data for calculations, and some statistical analysis. You cannot use what's it called? You cannot use numerical data. You cannot start saying you want to find the sum of all the matrix numbers. No. All right. Now, this data is now further divided into two again. You have discrete data and you have continuous data. So when I speak about discrete, it's usually whole numbers. What is the number of cars in a park? You definitely, in no condition, will you tell me you have 200 and a half cars. You will not tell me you have 1.5 cars. No, it is usually whole numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Countable numbers like that. Okay? While continuous cannot be expressed as just whole numbers. Okay? Examples include length of a movie. You would have something in hours, minutes, and seconds. Or the height of a person. You can have 15.7 centimeter, 5 feet 11 inches. All right. So that is the difference between discrete and continuous data. Now, on the other hand, where we have qualitative data, in primary school, we were taught that adjectives qualify nouns, isn't it? Adjectives are words that qualify nouns. Now, qualitative data qualify quality. It's talking about data that qualifies your quantitative data. Oh, I have 2. You have 2. What do you mean by you have 2? I need to qualify that number 2. What do you have 2? Oh, I have 2 bags. I have 2 black bags. You see, bag or black bag in this case is a qualitative data because it is qualifying that quantitative data or numerical data that I have. Okay, so they are also called categorical data and can be used as a means of grouping data related to it. It can be divided into two, namely nominal and ordinal data. So what do we mean by means of grouping data related to it? You can use them to create groups. If I say I have 100 bags here, group them, create groups of this bag, divide them by color, meaning all the black bags, put them in one place, all the white bags, put them in one place, all the blue bags, put them in one place. Do you see that? Okay, their color is the qualitative data. So I'm using color to group the bags. Can you see? So you can use them as a means of grouping the data. All right. Now, nominal data are data that groups data into categories, but they do not need to follow a particular hierarchy. When I say hierarchy, what do I mean? They don't need a particular order. One does not come before another. For instance, hair color. You won't tell me that blue is greater than green. Why is that preference? Or blue should come before green. Or red should come before yellow. Or white should come before black. Or state of origin. And then you now tell me that, oh, Kano is greater than Katsina. Or you tell me that, oh, Abia is greater than Adamawa. Or you tell me that, oh, Lagos is greater than Oyo. Okay, so there's usually no hierarchy to it. Okay, but on the other hand, ordinal data has a hierarchy. For example, happiness scale. You cannot tell me that neutral will come before extremely happy. Neutral will be in the middle if you are arranging it. You will put neutral in the middle. You won't put neutral at the end. This is a happiness scale. It is a categorical data because I can use it to group people that are extremely happy. I can use it to group people that are happy. I can use it to group people that are neutral about the subject. I can use it to group people that are unhappy and people that are very unhappy. And if they say, oh yeah, arrange this thing, I won't put neutral first. Definitely not. So this is a kind of ordinal data. All right.
Drop your questions in the comment section. Thank you.